Let's bring in Elizabeth Harrington, staff writer for the Washington Free Beacon. So right now in Iowa, it's Cruz versus Trump. What are they fighting for? I mean, which wings of the party, who are they going after?
Well, it's interesting because you see they're both kind of going after this anti-establishment wing, and you had Sarah Palin yesterday on stage praising Trump for ramming the establishment, while next to Trump, who just the same day was criticizing Cruz for going after Mitch McConnell in the Senate. So they're kind of going after this same wing, even if, you know, it's really just the style over the substance here. You have the Iowa problem for Cruz is that he's now getting hit by the governor for his position against ethanol subsidies. Trump is embracing that because he's really going all in these final weeks before the caucuses, and with the Palin endorsement as well, because he really wants to defeat Cruz and stop his momentum there.
She was kind of a darling of the Tea Party, though, right? And it doesn't seem like Donald Trump is necessarily the Tea Party kind of conservative.
That's what's so interesting about this endorsement yesterday. It really embodies what this Trump campaign has been this entire time, which is style over substance. Again, you have her ramming the establishment, while it's Cruz that's really the anti-establishment that's roughed things up in the Senate for the establishment figures. And Trump embracing these positions that aren't conservative wouldn't really seem like issues that the Tea Party would embrace, not touching Social Security, for instance, the ethanol subsidies. I don't believe they would support that. But again, that just doesn't matter, because Palin, she's a showman, Trump's a showman. They're trying to get back in the spotlight, and it's really this bigger idea of, he's a strong leader and he's going to rough up the status quo. And I think that's what the appeal is, and that's why he's just going for it in Iowa. Just
in the last couple of minutes, there's a new CNN poll out with some interesting figures. It shows Trump is solidly #1, but it also shows 36% of Republican voters doubt Ted Cruz's eligibility. Now, those are probably just about identical to the people who are supporting Donald Trump, but that is an issue that wouldn't have even registered in a Republican poll a week or two ago.
Exactly. It's a very smart strategy for Trump to attack him on this, because lots of Americans, when they're asked, do you think the president should be born in the United States? Do you think that's an eligibility issue? They will say yes. And then when Trump is going to say, oh, well, he was born in Canada, people are going to scratch their heads and be confused about that. And, the issue hasn't really been settled in courts before. I don't think it's a major issue, but the way Trump is playing it, it puts Cruz on the defensive. It opens him up to these questions. I'm sure that, if he did become the nominee, that Democrats would challenge his eligibility in court. So it is an issue, and when Iowans are asked about it, they're going to, question it, and maybe he's going to lose some support for that.
Most observers have said that Ted Cruz has been running a methodical, disciplined, effective campaign, but he's had a couple of stumbles in the last week.
Right. I think this last week, ever since he went after Trump for his so-called New York values, that was a moment in the debate that really hurt him, after he was doing very well in the debate up until that moment. And then you have the Iowa governor coming out strongly against him. Now he has to cancel events in New Hampshire because he has to go back to the Senate to vote on this refugee bill. And, of course, the Palin endorsement, which was really seen by many as a betrayal, since she campaigned so hard for him when he ran in the Senate. It's really, a lot of this stuff is adding up for Cruz, and I think it's hurting his momentum in Iowa as it gets closer for the voters to go to the polls.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. Elizabeth Harrington, thank you.
Thank you.